My name is Anna. Standing in the opulent ballroom of the annual Thompson Foundation Charity Gala, surrounded by a sea of shocked and whispering faces, I knew that this night would change everything. My mother-in-law, Harriet Thompson, had just dropped her champagne glass, the sound of shattering crystal echoing through the silent room. Her face was as white as a sheet, and her eyes were wide with disbelief as she stared at me. It all started 2 years ago when I married Leo Thompson. His family, the Thompsons, were a well-respected old money family in the city. Their company, Thompson Capital Management, managed a portfolio of around $40 million, and they lived a life of luxury and privilege. To them, I was just a struggling independent filmmaker who had somehow managed to snag their precious son. I don't come from a poor background. In fact, I secretly run Park Digital Enterprises, one of the largest and most successful tech companies in North America, worth over $15 billion. But I chose to keep this a secret from Leo's family. I wanted to see who they truly were, untainted by the influence of my wealth. As I entered the gala in my stunning red evening gown that cost more than the Thompsons' monthly mortgage payments combined, I was immediately met with disdain. My sister-in-law Vivian sneered at me. "Did you pick that up at a bargain sale? It looks so cheap." She was wearing a designer dress from the previous season, one I had considered but rejected because of its gaudy design. I simply adjusted my faux diamond earrings, which were actually heirlooms from my great-grandmother and worth more than Vivian's entire wardrobe. Then Harriet swooped in, her voice dripping with false kindness. "Anna, dear, you really should have let us buy you a proper dress for this occasion. We can't have the Thompson name associated with such modesty." I calmly replied, "Thank you, but I'm very happy with what I'm wearing." Over the years, I'd learned that my calm responses irritated them far more than if I'd lost my temper. I spotted Leo across the room, chatting with some potential donors. He caught my eye and gave me a reassuring wink. Leo was the only one who knew my true identity. We met at a film festival where I was using a different name. He quickly saw through my disguise and was fascinated by me, not intimidated. We bonded over late-night discussions about business and our shared love of classic black and white movies. Early on, he asked me, "I don't know why you let them treat you this way." I told him, "I want to see who people are at their core. Money can change everything." I learned that the hard way in my previous relationships. The Thompsons never let me forget my so-called lesser background. Harriet would gossip at every party, making it seem like I was a gold digger who had wormed my way into their family. The gala was in full swing when Vivian deliberately bumped into me, spilling red wine all over my dress. "Oh, I'm so clumsy," she giggled. "It's not like your dress is that expensive anyway." Little did she know, the dress had been treated with a special coating that repelled liquids. I calmly dabbed at the stain, secretly smiling. That's when Harriet decided to make her grand speech. She raised her glass, and the room fell silent. "I want to thank everyone for coming tonight," she began. "The Thompson Foundation is excited to announce an expansion of our efforts to support female artists. We have a prime example here, my daughter-in-law, Anna, who came from very little, but we've taken her under our wing and tried to show her the ways of high society." The room went quiet. I saw Leo starting to make his way towards us, his face filled with anger. Harriet continued, her voice sharp as a blade, "But some people just can't be refined. They'll always be after rich men to elevate their social status." Vivian quickly jumped in, "Mom's right. We've tried to help you, Anna, but you just don't fit in here. You're embarrassing us all. Maybe you should go back to wherever you came from." All the patience I had shown over the years was about to pay off. I said quietly, "You're right. I don't belong here. Unlike you, I don't have to flaunt my charitable contributions to feel good about myself. Unlike you, I don't put others down to make myself feel powerful. And unlike you, I don't have to worry about Thompson Capital Management's failing portfolio." Harriet's face blanched. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and checked my messages. Oh, I just remembered. About 15 minutes ago, my company, Park Digital Enterprises, successfully acquired Blackwood and Associates, the investment firm that handles all of Thompson Capital Management's accounts. Vivian looked bewildered. What does that mean? Leo finally reached my side and grinned. It means everything. Since Blackwood and Associates manages all of our family's accounts, my wife's company now has control. Harriet dropped her glass, and it shattered on the floor. Your company? Vivian stammered. I ran my fingers through my hair and smiled. Park Digital Enterprises. You might have heard of it. We're a major player in the tech industry, worth about $15 billion. Harriet grabbed onto a nearby chair for support. That's impossible. You're just a gold digger, a struggling filmmaker. I finished her sentence. Yes, that's what you thought. It's funny how people make assumptions without really looking at who's in front of them. But this was just the beginning. Harriet tried to regain her composure. Even if what you're saying is true, Thompson Capital Management is still independent. You can't touch us. I pulled up another message on my phone and looked at Leo. Leo, what time is it? He checked his watch exaggeratedly. 9:30 p.m. Perfect. That means the papers have just been finalized, I said. I turned back to Harriet. You should know that Thompson Capital Management has been on a downward spiral for a while. That expansion into the art market last year was a huge mistake. Your company has been losing money, and those high-interest loans you took out to maintain your image? They're no longer a secret. Vivian's face turned green. How do you know about that? Those records are confidential. I gave a soft smile. When you own one of the largest banks, nothing stays private. As of 9 p.m. Tonight, Park Digital Enterprises owns every loan that Thompson Capital Management has ever taken out. And by the way, we also own this building. I bought it last week. Harriet swayed on her feet, clearly in shock. This building is part of the Thompson Foundation, she stammered. Leo corrected her, it was. The foundation board voted to sell it because of financial difficulties. They just didn't have the heart to tell you, probably because you were too busy trying to humiliate my wife to attend the last few board meetings. A crowd had gathered, their whispers filling the air. I could see people discreetly taking pictures with their phones. By tomorrow, this would be all over the news. Harriet whispered desperately, you can't do this. I raised an eyebrow. Family, Harriet? Let's talk about family. For 2 years, you've called me a gold digger at every opportunity. You've sabotaged my film projects, spread lies about my past, and even tried to set Leo up with other women. Tonight, you deliberately tried to embarrass me in front of all the important people in this city's philanthropy scene. Is this how family treats family? Vivian stepped forward, her face full of desperation. We can work something out. Dad will fix this. He always knows what to do. Leo interjected firmly, your father already knows. He approved the sale. He's known about Anna's identity for months and has been trying to warn you, but you refused to listen. Harriet's eyes filled with disbelief and anger. Charles would never go behind my back like this. Suddenly, Charles Thompson stepped forward from the crowd. He looked tired but determined. Actually, Harriet, I would. I've watched you and Vivian use your wealth to hurt people for years, thinking that money makes you better than everyone else. When Leo told me the truth about Anna, I saw a chance to teach you both a lesson. Vivian cried, Dad, how could you do this? Charles replied firmly, Anna's company isn't just taking over our assets, they're going to restructure everything. The Thompson Foundation will continue its work, but with new leadership that understands true philanthropy. I stepped forward and spoke softly but firmly. Starting tomorrow, The foundation will focus on providing education and resources to underprivileged female filmmakers. Real help, not just for show. Harriet, Vivian, you have a choice. You can stay on as regular employees and learn how to actually make a difference, or you can leave with your personal assets, which are much less than you think. The crowd murmured in disbelief. The great Harriet Thompson, being offered a regular job by her daughter-in-law, who they had thought was a poor filmmaker. It was a shocking turn of events. Vivian screamed, "This is absurd. Mom, tell them they can't do this." But Harriet's anger had turned to fear. She finally understood the full extent of the situation. "Why?" she whispered. "Why go through all of this? You could have destroyed us right away." I moved closer and whispered in her ear, "Money and power aren't tools for revenge, Harriet. They're responsibilities. I wanted you to experience what it's like to be judged and looked down upon. Now you'll learn what true value means." 2 weeks later, the headlines read, "Thompson Foundation announces major restructuring, new focus on female filmmakers." Harriet and Vivian decided to stay. Harriet now works on project development and has started to see the purpose in her work. Vivian heads the outreach program and even apologized to me last week. Leo and I still attend charity galas, but they're different now. There's no more power, tripping, or social climbing. We focus on making a real impact and helping those who truly need it. I still wear that red dress with the faint wine stain, a reminder to myself and others that true worth isn't about what you wear or how much money you have. It's about how you treat others. Charles has retired but still sits on our company's board, watching as Leo and I build something meaningful. The other night at a small family dinner, Harriet asked me to help her understand impact investing. "I want to do better," she said quietly. "I want to be better." And that, more than any revenge, was the victory I had always hoped for. Sometimes Leo asks me if I miss being a secret billionaire. I smile and show him the latest reports from our film education programs. Hundreds of young female filmmakers are getting opportunities they never dreamed of. Why would I miss it? I say. This is a far better story.